Next one-way plane trip to Ho Chi Minh. Love it. And Bernie Madoff has reached a partial settlement with regulators in America. They say he's promised not to contest claims that his firm was a fraud. The agreement extends an asset freeze on the former NASDAQ chairman. Yes, indeed, he was the chairman of the National Association of Securities Dealers Automated Quotation, so he had gravitas at one time. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission said on his website that Madoff didn't admit or deny wrongdoing. He faces criminal and civil charges after authorities say he admitted to running a Ponzi scheme that bilked investors of perhaps $50 billion or more. So, Bernie Madoff, well, he's just one sort of little entrant in all the trust-busting events which have happened in very rapid-fire succession. You've got the financial crisis, the meltdown of corporate America, the big bank bailout situation and all that. Trust is sorely lacking. New survey released today by Edelman shows trust in businesses falling dramatically. 60% of Asia respondents say they trust business less than they did a year ago. Alan VanderMolen is Asia-Pac president of Edelman and joins us on the show today. Morning, sir.
Morning, Bernie.
It's not just business, but it's governments, which have also seen a collapse in trust as well. Is that correct?
There's trust across the board in the institutions we measure. Business, media, governments, all down, while NGOs are slightly up in our study this year.
Wow. So it's the NGOs that should be leading the way forward.
Well, certainly NGOs have emerged stronger this year than they have historically in our study. In fact, in our U.S. data, NGOs emerged as the most trusted institution. In Asia, they're still near the bottom in terms of trust because they're generally seen as meddling in domestic affairs more so than really helping drive sustainable economic growth.
Pretty much, now this survey spanned thousands of people in the Asia-Pac, correct?
That's right.
Are you finding similar sentiments no matter where you go, or are they more up in arms and more outraged in some places than others?
Look, in general, trust in business is down across the board, and trust in government is down across the board. Where business has continued to fare well is mainland China. And that's primarily because business is seen as helping continue to stimulate economic growth. So they've kind of shelved the milk crisis and really focused on the economic benefits that business has provided that economy over the last 12 months.
That's interesting, but the companies do that in a lot of places. Is there something particular to the way the Chinese view the role of private enterprise, and how does it jive with the trust in government? Or can you actually gauge people on their trust in government in China?
You can. In fact, government is the most trusted institution in mainland China, with business now becoming the second most trusted institution in mainland China. These institutions, I think, from our respondents, which are educated and, in fact, employed, or which are highly educated, which are in the top 25% of income, and which are employed in government and business. So our respondents look at government and business working together to continue to drive sustainable economic growth. There is expectation, however, that government will put stronger regulations around business and how it operates, and there's big expectation for business to cooperate with government in continuing to drive positive economic outcomes.
Is there some sort of a common denominator? Are people expecting to be bailed out? Are people looking at the government and say, okay, we worked hard, we paid our taxes, we raised our kids, and we didn't go spray painting graffiti on the public transport, and yet we're going through all these problems through no fault of our own. Deal with it, and we are looking to you for guidance now. Are people kind of like, save me? I mean, is that are they resigned to that?
Well, they're not. I think there's a relative level of pragmatism as you look across the region. Certainly 7 out of 10 respondents expect governments to regulate business more closely and more strictly. However, most of our respondents place government and business responsible for working together to work ourselves out of these current economic difficulties.
Okay, and media kind of suffered a bit of a slap in the face as well, I understand.
Well, mainstream media, as broadband penetration continues to increase, and also as media becomes increasingly free in mainland China in particular, trust in mainstream media continues to go down. With the voice of blogs and the blogosphere and the ability of consumers of news and information to talk back to it.
What does that mean? It means interactivity. Listening to people, letting people take ownership and participate in the process is very, very critical.
And also comment on the quality of what they're reading and viewing.
Okay, okay, the interactivity. We'll notch that up and take down our notes. What do business leaders need to learn, basically, from this whole survey? What can they do? What can they do rather than just sit there and say, "Oh my God"?
there's a huge call for business to start to engage in private sector diplomacy. And what that means is business needs to take on the issues of the day, whether that's the credit crisis, whether that's access to health care, whether that's rising energy costs. Business needs to engage in all of these issues to increase its social contract to operate, but it has to do it in cooperation with governments and with NGOs.
If you take somebody like Bernie Madoff, can he be rehabilitated, or is he so basically gone that nothing could be done?
I mean, the question of Bernie rehabilitating is one thing. The question is, can he revive his trust is quite another. I think as a result of Madoff and other CEO instances of malfeasance, you think about Satyam, trust in CEOs as a source of information about companies has plunged dramatically. Essentially, opinion leaders are looking to third parties as spokespeople.
Trust, it is the most precious commodity. Alan, thank you for your time.
My
Alan
pleasure.
VanderMolen from Edelman. Thanks for watching.